Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. Um, in light of recent things that have just happened, as you guys already know, there's been a strike. Sadly, 3 USA troops were killed in an army base in Jordan. So I'm going to be talking about that, but I'm also going to be talking about the bigger energies as well that's going on, the Pluto return, lots of things to put everything in context, and also as well to revisit some of the ground that I've spoken about before, but has subsequently come true. So my membership are going to see this video first. So you guys, you get it tonight, and then I'm probably going to release it either tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow or Wednesday for the general public. So this is for membership first, and of course you guys will be getting this later. So you'll be seeing this either on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday for you. If you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe to the channel, and please share as well. Some of you may have heard, and I would certainly have to concur, some YouTubers are saying, particularly us political ones, are saying that the bell notification, like they're not being notified when our videos are up. A few of you have actually told me that. Some people are even getting unsubscribed automatically from channels and stuff like that. So I would just encourage everyone, not just on my own channel as well, but those that are, the light workers giving us insights as well. Be sure to support their channels too, because there seems to be things going on with the algorithm, shall we say, where certain vested interests maybe trying to alter things just a little bit. Also, as well, one or two of you were saying that and were a bit outraged, when they've been noticing sometimes there are Trump videos on channels that they wouldn't normally associate with supporting Trump and stuff like that. I just want to say, we as YouTubers, when we monetize, we have no control over the ads that appear on our channels. It's basically, it goes to the highest bidder. And it's also geolocation specific. So, for example, the ads that I will see when I'm say watching YouTube videos when I'm in the UK are completely different to the ads that I would see in America or Mexico, for example, because of course they always adjust it. So if you are getting a Trump video coming up, it could be for one of two reasons: A, duck l'orange, maybe kind of trying to deter you a bit and kind of throw a little bit of a spanner in the works in terms of like the light worker channels who may not be so well disposed to him. Or it can also be as well if you watch maybe like a lot of channels or news that are discussing duck l'orange or Trump, that will also show up as well in your algorithm, and it will increase the chances of you maybe kind of getting one of his adverts and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. Just bear in mind, no matter who you watch or on YouTube, whether you be a fan of them or not, they don't have a choice on the adverts that appear, because one person was like, well, surely you have a choice. It's like, no, we don't. YouTube is a wonderful platform. It is a huge corporate entity, and what they do is, if a channel is popular, then it basically goes to the highest bidder. So I just wanted to put that in context there. We live, at least in the West, definitely we live in a capitalist society, and there's certain things we can't do about it. Although I noticed, though, they have moderated the ads a little bit, where they've given back a little bit of control, because do you remember at one point, Hogarth's were getting like 23 ads on them. I mean, like literally 23, which just made watching it, absolutely like impossible. So I think a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers have complained, and now it's not quite the same. They can't, I've noticed they're not doing quite as much of that flooding as they were doing before, because of course that would kill the golden goose, wouldn't it? It's very difficult to watch a channel or some content which you might be really interested in, and you've got 5 or 6 ads in the first 15 minutes. It just sabotages it. Anyway, I think I think the powers that be have twigged. All right, so what's this video about? I'm going to be talking about the Pluto return, of course, but in more detail, a little bit on the eclipses. We're going to be looking at the USA chart as well, so you can see what is going on with the Pluto return, when it is exactly happening. We're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Larange's chart, why he can't shut up. Literally, I've said this before, but I have to repeat it from time to time, just so you guys understand what's going on between the ears with the psychology of this guy. And there'll be other things in there as well. I've got my notes here to make sure I stay on track. And what I'm also going to be doing is sharing my screen with you as well. And I'm going to click up on some articles that I've researched, that I've seen, that I've put up, so they're ready to go. So you can look at them and you can see how the things that I was talking about last year, sometimes even more than a year ago now, you know, have since transpired. All right, so where we're going to go first is, before we talk about the USA chart, we're going to talk about China. Now, you will remember I did a video, which I think it was Biden, Trump, Xi Jinping, something like that. I'll try and find it and put in the description. Let me just put here, Biden, Trump, Xi video. I'll try and find that. And do you remember I said it may not be so obvious to the outside world, because of course so much is held back and repressed, of course, in China, as we all know. And I said Xi Jinping would have huge problems domestically. I said he would have massive problems domestically, and he'll be playing the swan, you know, trying to keep it calm, but the feet will be paddling underneath. Now, I did this video, I think it was about a year ago. It could be 9 months, it could be more than a year, I can't remember. You know, I do a lot of videos, like a lot of YouTubers. But one of the things I spoke about was the Chinese housing market. And I was talking about Evergrande, and I was saying that is probably going to go down, and it will cause this ripple effect. So let me just click down here on the present button, and let's do share screen. And then let's see. Here we go. So if I do, let me see if I do window. Let me just do tab. So let me just do this. Oh, but then I like to make sure that I can see myself as well. 1 minute. Let's do that. Because sometimes I'm never 100% sure if you can actually see the thing that I'm looking at. Aha, here we go. So here, of course, that's quite unsightly, but I'm going to click up here. Here you are. So you should be able to see this. So this is coming from the Guardian, as you can see. So Evergrande collapse. Hong Kong court orders liquidation of China property giants. So judge says enough is enough after developer, which has 300 billion in debt, fails to provide convincing restructuring plans. So then it keeps on going on to say, embattled Chinese development company Evergrande has been ordered to liquidate by a Hong Kong court after an 18-month hearing. So you can see here, which Evergrande, which holds the ignominious title of the world's most indebted property developer with around about 300 billion liabilities, failed to convince the court that had a viable restructuring plan after having been given 7 extensions since court proceedings were first brought in June 2022. So do you remember I was talking about saying, look, there's going to be issues here. However, it can still appeal. And then Justice Linda Chan delivered the ruling Monday saying it is time for the court to say enough is enough. So and it says liquidation petition was lodged by Topshine in June 2022, an investor in Evergrande, until Fang Cheibao, which said the developer had failed to honor an agreement to repurchase shares it had bought in the subsidiary. So if we, 1 minute, here we are. So I'll click back off of that. So let's, I don't want to keep this kind of weird page up. There we are. So you can see from that, yeah, you saw the article there. 2024 is a really, really seminal year for the world. You've heard me banging on about this ad nauseum. The Pluto return is happening in sidereal Capricorn, which I'll show you on my software. The most important thing we need to remember is this. In terms of the shorthand, Pluto at its best is shamanic energy, transformational energy, turning the lead into gold, mea culpa, self-sacrifice, doing what is best for the collective, rising up, using magic for the positive of all. However, because of the way humanity is, and still much of humanity is struggling to try and get into those higher vibrations because of lack, war, famine, you know, injustice, iniquity, economic sanction, etc., struggling. So those plutonic energies are expressing themselves a lot in government. I just want you guys to understand this. Capricorn is the sign of government. Pluto can represent the corruption, the lowest that what we can do, humanity can do, people trafficking, smuggling, fascism, you know, all of this stuff. And if there is still anyone that doubts out there where Capricorn truly is, just look at the world. Capricorn, the most important thing to remember is that it deals with corporations of all kinds, top-down structures, powerful, influential bodies, institutions, even like pharmaceuticals, you know, big companies, and of course, government. And it's not just happening in the USA. Of course, we can see here now I'm talking about China. They're obviously facing a lot of stuff as well. So China has been hit by several natural disasters, storms galore, floodings, etc., all of this kind of stuff. And this Evergrande having to liquidate, as much as the CCP have tried to kind of contain the contagion, because the debt is so high, we still have to see how this will play out in the world, folks, because many people are invested in this, including the shadow banks and all of that kind of stuff. What I will do is, under the video description, I will put the links that to the articles that you see now. I'll put them in the video description so you can obviously check them out for yourself. So I said Xi Jinping and China would be under significant stress and duress. Most of it has been kept from the world, but trust me, it has happened because, you know, I look at all the different channels and stuff. And very, very interesting year. Let's also not forget, it's just come to me as well, like I said before, we are about to enter the year of the dragon. I think it's February 10th will be the Chinese New Year. Watch out for big things to come from China in this regard. There is no way that China's not going to do something bold and bombastic in a dragon year, which is considered one of the luckiest years in China. And of course, highly auspicious, considered the most auspicious animal in the whole of the 12 Chinese sign of animals zodiac, which of course runs yearly. So watch out for that. I've giving you a heads up. You know, we might see some big bold moves in regards to Taiwan, stuff like that. This dragon year. Remember, you know, you heard it here first. I'm sure I'm probably not the only one. Anyway, so let's talk now about this attack on the US troops. So at the moment, from what I understand, there are 3 who have died. And I want to kind of, this is also drawing back into the Pluto return. So let's just look at the article, and then we're going to look at the USA chart, and I'm going to discuss with you this crucial Pluto return that you've heard me talking about for years, along with many other astrologers. So let's go here. Let's click on that. 1 minute. Let's go back. to studio, and let's do present. Do share screen, and then let's do this one here. Let's do share. See, there we go. Should be able to see this. All right, so this is a CNN article, this one. 3 US troops killed in drone attack in Jordan, more than 30 injured. Wow. So they've got a little bit of blurb. There's a video here of Joe. So here are 3 US Army soldiers were killed and more than 30 service members were injured in a drone attack overnight on a small US outpost in Jordan. US official told CNN, marking the first time USA troops have been killed by enemy fire in the Middle East since the beginning of the Gaza war. We shall respond, President Joe Biden said while speaking in South Carolina on Sunday. And let's just see here, the killing of 3 Americans at Tower 22 in Jordan near the border with Syria is a significant escalation of an already precarious situation in the Middle East. Officials said the drone was fired by Iran-backed militants and appeared to come from Syria. It is still being determined which militia group is specifically is responsible. Okay, so there you are. So that's the bit there. So do you see it's these things? Let me just stop the share there. This Pluto return, this is what this means. This is what this means. What does Pluto do? Pluto drags everything up. He is the god of the underworld. So all of the muck, the gubbins, the mess. Yeah. Now, my analogy for the Pluto return is that the Pluto return is equivalent to the Saturn return that we get in our personal charts. Now, of course, Saturn takes about 29 years to go around the sun. So when we're about 28, 29, 30, that's when we get our first Saturn return. Then we get our second one in our late 50s or when we're 60. Also, many of my clients are going through their second Saturn return with Chiron, actually, a lot of them. So a lot of stuff with karmic healing. And by the time we're in our late 80s, early 90s, we're like, God, take me. Ready to go. Yeah, because we've seen so much of life by that stage, and we're coming towards the natural end of our lives for most people on planet Earth. So this ratcheting up of the pressure, this escalation that we're seeing, for me, this is the Pluto return in Capricorn energy. Yeah, the Pluto return in Capricorn. Why? Because if we see that it's all to do with what? Governments. If we remember a while back when Pluto was in Sagittarius, this was a while back now, but when it was in Sagittarius, the whole world was talking about what? Because Sagittarius is a sign of what? Spirituality, religion, and also can deal with fanaticism, yeah, travel, stuff like that. We were talking about all of the things to do with things like September actually we were talking about, it was about radicalism, beheadings, and a lot of the scandals in the Catholic Church, yeah. And to kind of round it all off, do you remember Notre Dame burned down? Yeah. So, that was showing what was going on in the world of spirituality, religion, religiosity and stuff. That is also when a lot of people started to kind of elevate as well, spiritually as well. So it's not all bad. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to share. So I've done that. I'm going to share the USA chart with you. Oh, also as well, remember as well what I was saying about the border. Yeah, so let me just put here, link eclipse video. Do you remember, I've been saying it for a while now. I said there's going to be issues with the border. Do you remember? said this, I think it was back end of last year, where I said the eclipses, you remember I showed that video where the eclipses went through Texas, and I said there's going to be something to do with the border, maybe things to do with army troops and stuff like that. It's all simmering and bubbling now, isn't it? Apparently a whole bunch of, evangelicals are going down there, which you read on Hogarth, and Shakespeare was, absolutely devastatingly accurate. Let me tell you, I couldn't sleep after what he said when we read on the evangelicals. Literally, I couldn't sleep. I was just like, it was so profound. Right, so let's do share screen again, and then let's do entire screen. I'm going to share. So we're back here again, and this time I'm going to get, there we are, get this up, and this is the USA Constitution or Declaration of Independence chart, sorry. Let's move this over, get this to come down a bit. Voila. Scooch that over just a little bit. So here you are. So the US Constitution chart, which you guys will know as the 4th of July, 1776, 6:30 p.m. Philadelphia. This is the one us Vedic astrologers tend to use. I think some Western astrologers use it, but it is highly accurate. When I've come to make all the predictions about the United States and stuff like that, I've always been using this chart. So here, just to give you an overview again, just for those who may be seeing the video the first time, or the first time they've seen the US Declaration of Independence chart discussed from the Vedic perspective. So we can see here, the United States is a Sagittarius rising nation. Makes absolute sense, doesn't it? Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's all about passion, religiosity. Yeah, it's about spirituality. Of course, Americans are very spiritual as well. Sagittarius deals with, it's also known as the battlefield. It deals with politics, and it can also deal with fanaticism as well. And as we know, there's plenty of that in the United States as well. Lots around the world, but as we have seen, as things have kind of amped up, we see there's a tremendous amount of highly passionate people. Let's put it that way. America is a very passionate nation. So here you can see there's all these planets here: Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun, all in the 7th house. And in mundane astrology, the 7th house deals with open enemies, our opponents. So you can see here, Mars, planet of war, is in the 7th house, which can mean that America will often be in a state of conflict with opponents. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, Mars is the what? Planet of war. We can see it here in the 7th house. But Venus is also a planet of trades, goods, services, wealth, etc. Jupiter deals with knowledge and wisdom, expansion and stuff like that. And the Sun deals with what? Kinship, leadership and stuff like that. So we can see here, America has a huge impact upon the outer world, particularly in the regards to business, because the 7th house deals with trade, exports, imports and exports, etc., stuff like that. Gemini is a sign of business and trade because it belongs to Mercury. Mercury, Venus, and Saturn are all business and trade. Planets that deal with that. If we look here, Saturn is sitting very strong in the 10th house of the United States chart with Neptune. Saturn, of course, deals with government, big companies, of all kinds. The 10th house is the international standing as well. So we know already American companies are what? Hugely influential. Think of Apple, think of Google, think of, Facebook, for example, Amazon, absolutely enormous. Think of all the other stuff as well. Here we have Neptune. Now, Neptune can do with spirituality and all of that stuff, music, creativity, and is also what? The film industry. That's also something as well that America, of course, is exceptionally well known for, the film industry, Hollywood and all of that stuff. In fact, my nickname for Neptune is Hollywood. La, 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 la. Yeah. So here we see the corporate world and Hollywood are together. Guess what, though? Neptune rules gases and liquids of all kinds, and anything that takes us out of our body. It also includes pharmaceuticals and drugs of all kinds. Of course, America has had an enormous impact. Its pharmaceutical industry is absolutely ginormous, and it's had a massive impact, as we in recent years we have seen even more of an impact. So do you see how that makes sense there? But let's go over and talk about the Pluto return. So now, how long does it take Pluto to go around? It takes Pluto, so imagine this is the sun, us going around the sun. So it takes Pluto around between 244 to 248 years to make one complete revolution. His orbit is elliptical, so it doesn't go around evenly. When Pluto is in the signs of Libra and Scorpio, this is when he goes his fastest through the signs, spends about 12 years in each sign when he's down here. But as he approaches, moves further away from the sun, the amount of time he spends in the sign increases. When he's in Aries and Taurus in particular, he can stay in a sign for almost 30 years or 30 years and loose change, like a long time. And then he comes back round and starts getting quicker again. So we see here in the USA chart, Pluto sits retrograde at 6 degrees and 48 minutes. And if we look over here where it says TR, that means transits. This is where the planets are right now, according to Vedic astrology and NASA, by the way. Vedic astrology is sidereal, so it's accurate to the placement of the stars. So if you were to go up and look up NASA or, whatever, or some kind of sidereal thing, you would see where the constellation that the planet is moving through. So you see, Pluto is not at 0 degrees of Aquarius, as the Western astrologers will have it. And again, Western astrology, if a person knows what they're doing, they can arrive at very similar results. But as you know, I like to show you where the actual body of the planet is, because it's very important, because it's the planet's bodies that trigger global events. So you can see here, Pluto is at 6 degrees and 5 minutes. He's basically pretty much exactly on top of himself. Yeah. So what does this mean? So this means that America as a nation is having to face the shadow, or having to purge, alchemize, turn the lead into gold on things that have been basically 250 years in the making. Yeah. So we see this is highly significant. It's not for no reason things are so absolutely volatile at the moment. And look, you can see Pluto is back at the same degree that he was when the Declaration of Independence happened. And what's just happened? What is it, half a day ago or yesterday? The American troops got bombed in Jordan. What we need to remember is this is happening all over the world simultaneously. Capricorn is a sign of government. Haven't we noticed? Everything, this government, that government, blah, 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 all of that kind of like going on. Now, I'm going to use my animated transits here to show you when that conjunction will become exact. I think it's around the 22nd of February, but let me just show you on the animated charts. So here we see the transits happen again as they are. At the moment, Cancer is rising on the eastern horizon. So anyone being born in the UK now, and for big stretches, of certain places, they will be a Cancer ascendant. But here we are. Let's look at this. Here's Pluto 605. Now I'm going to use my weekly here. Let's skip forward 1 week, and we're going to see the planets move. As we can see here, they're actually all going direct. The nodes of the moon are always retrograde, but all the other planets here, looks like they're going direct. Wonderful. So that means there'll be less karmas for people born at this time. Lucky them. All right, let's go forward 1 week. So here we see Pluto is at 618. Yeah, but we want 648. Let's go forward 1 week more. So we see here Pluto is at 631. Let's do another week. 644. Yeah, so now we're in February, and let's do daily. Let's do another week to see if it gets to that. And let's go back, and then I can give you, I think it's the 22nd. Do you see? Keep that eye on Pluto. 49. Yeah, look, basically 21st to the 22nd of February 2024 is when that Pluto return becomes exact. But look, let's also pay attention to what's going on here. We see here Mars is also with Pluto, and so is Venus, the planets of war and peace together. So what's going to happen here? Like, you know, so remember, this is going to be happening in the USA chart. Do you see? We've already seen that 3 troops, sadly, have lost their lives in a drone strike. Remember what? Mars is what? The planet of war. Venus is wanting to deal with peace and diplomacy and stuff like that. So we're literally having the energy of war and peace with Pluto. So I'm going to say that, you know, things are going to ratchet up. Hopefully, though, we'll have to see what Venus can bring. But on this day, basically when Pluto becomes exactly back to himself in the time of 1776, look, Mars is at 13 degrees, Venus is at 13 degrees. So this is going to be a blended energy. I think there's going to be an escalation, and then hopefully there'll be some kind of call for peace, or maybe this is going to continue to affect trade routes and all of that kind of stuff. As I was suggesting in earlier videos before, that, you know, there's a lot of this stuff in order to disrupt trade, which can, of course, affect prices, gas, which can, of course, affect sentiment, which, of course, can then affect elections. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that there so you can see that for yourself. So 21st, 22nd of February 2024 is when this Pluto return becomes exact. This is also as well when you know, who knows how many people will be on the border at this point. I think the convoys are making their way down now, but you can see for yourself how that energy is blending. So Saturn is incredibly powerful because he will be the dispositor, or, you know, the landlord of the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Pluto as well. So let's stop the let's go back to the main screen. So I've shown you that now. And what I spoke, yes. Now, this is why, let's stop the share on this one. Now, this is why this year is so crucial, so crucial. So I'm going to click up another article for you. So let's do present. And this one is about elections around the world. Remember I said expect the unexpected in 2024. There's a lot going on. So let's do share. And if we do this, so we see here, actually 1 minute. So if we scroll down, so this is from Time Magazine, the ultimate election year, all the elections around the world in 2024. Yeah, so you can see that for yourself there. So if we look here, 2020, so according to COU, 2024 is not just an election year, it's perhaps the election year. So globally, more voters than ever in history, will head to the polls, as at least 64 countries, as someone said in the comments on Hogarth, plus the European Union, yeah, representing a combined population of around about 49% of the people in the world, are meant to hold national elections, the results of which for many will prove consequential for years to come. So do you remember, again, this is just underlying that theme that I've been saying. Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn. Capricorn deals with governments. Yeah, look at that. 49%, almost half of the world is going to be voting for what? New governments. Pluto, transformation, shocks, surprises, corruption, you know, what have you. You know, the people are going to be doing a lot of votes this year. So this one says a make or break year for democracy worldwide. It certainly is. In Taiwan, for example, who becomes the next president will fundamentally shape Beijing's approach to the self-governed island it has repeatedly threatened with invasion. And again, I repeat, it is a dragon year this year. So for China, that is even more significant. They might try and make a bold move this year. Wouldn't shock me at all. So there's things here, and it talks about in Bangladesh, where the opposition, what is it called? Imran Khan is in jail, isn't he? What's the election being boycotted? Here we are. Here in Pakistan, that was Bangladesh. Pakistan, the country's most popular politician, Prime Minister Imran Khan, sits in jail while his party has been suppressed and is arrested in the run-up to February's election. So you see, and there's all these different articles. They talk about Vladimir Putin saying even though it's virtually guaranteed that he's going to win, the percentage of the vote matters. Ukraine, are they going to have an election this year? So inside, Volodymyr Zelensky struggled to keep Ukraine in the fight. So obviously Time magazine, they've gone and done all these extra kind of doodahs. And here, not to mention the elephant in the room, the US presidential race culminating in November has the potential to unleash what The Economist recently described as the biggest danger to the world of 2024, former President Donald Trump seeking a second term. I mean, that would certainly just, like I said, if he gets in, it's all over. Anyway, so here, if I keep scrolling down, because I don't want this to drag on, here we are. So look, 2024, the ultimate election year around the world. So you see here, here's a map. Look at all of the nations. National elections are scheduled or expected in at least 64 countries, as well as the European Union, which altogether represent almost half of the global population that you see here. Very, very significant. So again, Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn is government. Yeah, you can see it here for yourself. Governments all over the world. You see how it's all kind of building up. Many, many things are going to happen in 2024. We got India, 1.44 billion people expected April, May. European Union, total 448 million. Elections, European Parliament, June. United States, 341 million. Yeah, presidency, of course, which Indonesia is here as well, 279 million. Pakistan, 243 million. Bangladesh, 174 million. Russian Federation, 144 million. Mexico, I was just there, 129. Do you see Iran? Wait, do they have elections? Forgive my ignorance. Let's see here. Elections. Islamic Conservative Assembly of Experts. Okay. Probably not a democratic one, but nonetheless an election. Here we are. United Kingdom, 67.9 million. House of Commons expected in 2024, required by Jan 28th, 2025. South Africa, Korea, Algeria, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Ghana, Mozambique, Madagascar, Venezuela, Bolivian Republic of Democratic Taiwan, very, very Syrian, Mali, Sri Lanka, Romania. Do you see it just goes on and on and on? So you can see there for yourself how significant 2024 is. This Pluto in sidereal Capricorn showing the big changes, transformation, big news happening in governments all around the world. Remember Aquarius, it deals more with the people. Yeah, it deals more with the people, technology, science, AI, all of that stuff. That is being triggered by Saturn. So it's still true. The people will be what? Rising up, speaking their voice. But really, it's the energy of Saturn. So if I just show this one last time, and if I do it, and I'll just show you again when I get up here. Just there we are. So you can see that. So if we look by transits, TR, look, Saturn is at 11 degrees 58 minutes of sidereal Aquarius. And he moved into that sign on the 17th of January 2023. So he's been there for a year now. Do you remember in my Saturn prediction video, I said we're going to see explosions of AI, all things to do with the sky, governments, tech, changes to rules and regulations of all kinds. We've seen things with the WHO, you know, they're working on their thing to, you know, do this big technological thing. We're going to see digital currencies and stuff like that happen, particularly when Jupiter and Uranus move into sidereal Taurus, which is the sign of money. Jupiter and assets of all kinds, wealth, food, agriculture, all of that kind of stuff. Jupiter will move in on the 1st of May 2024, and then Uranus will move in on the 1st of June 2024. That's when I think, you know, we're going to see even more about the digital bank currencies. That's when we're going to see even more about that. They've already been talked about for a long time. I've been speaking about them for a long time. This is when we're going to see it become a bit more mainstream, more and more stuff. There'll be changes in the economy as well. But as we see here, Saturn is in sidereal Aquarius, and he's still with America's moon. So America is going through a phase which is called Sadi Sati. Yeah, Sadi Sati. And that can mean 7 years of trials. Yeah. So this Sadi Sati, it begins when Saturn is one sign from the moon, with the moon, and one sign after. When did this begin? Saturn moved into sidereal Capricorn around about the end of January 2020. What happened then? Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Saturn is what? Planet of what? Restrictions, rules, regulations, having to obey things, having to do this, that. Government, yeah, the whole world went into lockdown. Do you see? It really does follow. It really does. It really does follow. And this is why I'm so passionate about Vedic astrology. And this is why, you know, I want to do the retreats and all of this stuff, so I can teach everyone in person and do courses and stuff like that. Because I am showing it to you, aren't I? In front of your eyes. You can see it for yourself. You can see it for yourself. Then when Saturn moved out, then we had all the technological leaps forward. The AI really came on stream big time. And now we're seeing what? People wanting to express their voice. We saw last year, like all of the protests and stuff. It's all still going on. There's going to be more. Of course there is. Look how many elections are happening. Half the world, half of humanity is going to be expressing their voice in some shape or form. Some are going to be wanting to be more liberal. Some are going to be wanting to be more centrist. Many are going what? To the further to the right, because Pluto is in sidereal Capricorn, so it can show the underbelly. Wherever Pluto is can show the underbelly. Governments moving to the right. We've seen it happen, haven't we? Pluto first moved into sidereal Capricorn around about the 1st of January 2021. What happened? A few days later, we had the insurrection. Do you see? Pluto, things happening with government. You know, I've said this too long now. You guys can just watch the video, look through my catalog. I predicted all of that stuff based on, you know, sidereal astrology. I even predicted things like the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff in 2019. But my friends and staff, you know that this was before I started my YouTube channel, but I saw what was coming. So we see this is an intense time. That's what Pluto deals with: intensity, having to face the shadow of things. We're having to look at the corruption of governments as well, and all of that stuff. The backhanders, you know, look at the power of many corporations and companies that have essentially overreached. Plutocracy, that's where we get the word plutocracy from. Yeah, it's where small amount of elite people have huge influence and power. So, you know, also as well, when Pluto's in Capricorn, it's going to be opposite the sign of Cancer, where it was sort of like in the 1930s and stuff like that. And as you know, ad nauseum, I've been saying we're sort of back in those times. We see, look what's going on with Duck L'Orange, but look what's happening in Europe. Now, does it mean it's all going to go to hell in a handbasket? No, not necessarily, because we can do the alchemy and stuff like that, but we have to be reading things from the right energy to correctly interpret the potential outcome. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. So remember, 21st, 22nd of February, the Pluto return in the USA chart becomes exact, and Mars and Venus will both be at 13 degrees right on top of each other, which is also close to that K2 as well, at 15 degrees 51 minutes in the USA's chart. So we can see this is an intense time. And the USA is also going through a Rahu Dasha, if I remember correctly. If I move here, is that 1894? Here we go. So if we look here, so you can see, look at this. Now, Rahu is one of the most intense dashas that you can get. It's completely bonkers. All of my clients pretty much who are going through their Rahu Dasha, they said, oh God, I feel like my life has been turned upside down. Rahu is the head of the body, yeah, head of the dragon without the body. Rahu deals with addictions. Rahu deals with excess of all kinds. Rahu blows things out of proportion. On a personal level, he can be great as well. Always wants to bring us something new and dynamic, but he does cause a lot of disturbance. Rahu, the shadow of Rahu, deals with liars, thieves, and con persons. I'm going to show you something very important. Look here. Do you see where it says R-A-R-A? That means Rahu, Rahu. This is the Declaration of Independence chart. That means that today, at this current moment, America is in its Rahu Dasha. Hasn't everything gone absolutely bonkers in the last few years? Doesn't it just seem like everyone is lying? Yeah, or, you know, you got prominent liars and stuff doing well. I can show you when this energy began. Look, Rahu, Rahu. The 24th of September, 2015 was when that energy began. Think of who was running, who was putting their hat in the ring to run for president at that time. Do you see? This is how this stuff correlates. Let me just see if I can find you one of my diagrams to describe the Dasha sequence. Here we are. It's a photocopy of one of the illustrations that I've done. 1 second. Let's just do stop share on this. So you can see that for yourself. Look, and the Rahu Dasha lasts a long time. I'm not saying it's all going to be chaos until September 2033. Yeah, things should calm down by that time. But when dashas are young, like when planets are young as well, that's when there can be a lot of intensity. So yeah, so you know, America's still got a ways to go before this Rahu Dasha ends, because Rahu Dasha does last for 18 years. Does it mean 18 years of chaos? Not necessarily, like I said, but it certainly means 18 years of transformation. So if I do the stop share here, and then let's just show you this illustration now. Of course, this is in my upcoming book. Now, I want to describe for you, this is the lengths of time a person or a nation is in the back seat of a certain car where a planet's energy dominates. Here you can see I've done it. I've used classic kind of cars. K2 I've done as a 1973 AMC Javelin. Yeah, one of those muscle cars that they used to call them once upon a time. And that lasts for 7 years. Do you see? Venus has the longest, lasts for 20 years. Here's Rahu. Where's Rahu? Here. See? The photocopy. It's like a crazy driver in there. I've got him as a rally car. Yeah, you can see Rahu, 18 years. So America is in the back seat of Rahu's car. Do you see? It makes sense now. This is why things are so intense, and it's Sadi Sati at the same time. And it's also what? The Pluto return as well. What we're seeing is absolutely bonkers. But this is also one of the most transformational times in American history and global history now. But at least I hope I've been able to make that clear for everyone. Right, let's look a little bit at Oh yeah, and remember as well, Capricorn is a conservative sign as well. Saturn in general is a conservative planet. When he's in Aquarius, he's more radical. But remember, Capricorn deals with conservatives. So I was just saying here, so speak about seeing the true and sometimes often ugly face of corporations. Remember, Capricorn's corporations, top-down structures of all kinds. But also the conservative movement has gone a bit bonkers, hasn't it? Where you've got the radical evangelicals who I think are going down to the border to either put more razor wire up or prevent it being taken down, from what I've heard. They're now saying that Jesus is woke. Yeah. Not all of them, I don't think. And, oh yes, Cindy Loomis as well. She said, 1 minute. Thank you, Cindy, for your comment. Let me just find her posting. 1 minute so I can get this right. Because she understands a lot about... oh, 1 minute. So Jay Brumley is saying the radical religious right is heretical. Why don't people use that word? And this person said, read Isaiah 20:23, when God talks about the ravenous wolves, the rulers of the day and the clergy. By the end of the chapter, God says, the most saddest things, I looked for one good man and I couldn't find one. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but look it up. It fits what we're going through today. And then Janet Beetsenberg said, Biden is that good man. Biden Harris for 2024. And here we are. So here you can see here. So Cindy, thank you so much for your comment. I took a screenshot. So she said, Hogarth is not just the Christian evangelicals, both wings of the United Methodists, Global Methodists, two Presbyterian domination branches, the right-wing Anglicans, and of course the non-affiliated Baptist, who aren't necessarily evangelicals. So she's saying they're getting stuck in as well. So do you see, it's also institutions and stuff like that, but Capricorn is conservatism. All right, let's look a little bit at Trump's chart. And I want to show you guys again why this guy cannot shut up to save his life. Yeah, according to Vedic astrology. So again, let's do share screen. And let's do entire screen. And let's go up here, share again, and then let's do file. Here we are, Donald Trump. So here is Duck Larange's chart. For those of you who may not have seen me do this before, Trump was born on the 14th of June, 1946, 10:54 a.m. in Jamaica, New York. Now, many people say he is a Gemini, which is what he would be in Western tropical, but actually he's on the last day of Taurus, sidereal Taurus. And Taurus is many things and stuff like that. But one of the things that Taurus is known for, the shadow of Taurus, is what? Stubbornness. Yeah. Can be a very materialistic sign as well, particularly when you've got Rahu here as well. Rahu is actually considered exalted in the sign of Taurus. Ketu is considered exalted in the sign of Scorpio. So here we can see, and then look, here you've got the radical Uranus, yeah, is with the sun and with Rahu. So what that means is, and it's in the 10th house of career, so it means a radical, unpredictable person, yeah, who loves to shock and scandalize. Yeah, that's Duck Larange all over. There you are, you can see it for yourself. Anyway, I've spoken about his ascendant and Mars being in the first house conjunct the star Regulus. Both of them are exactly conjunct that star. But the important thing I want to talk about here is his 11th house. Look, do you see here his Mercury? Mercury is the planet of communication. So for all Leo ascendants, Mercury rules the 11th house and the 2nd house. Mercury for Leo ascendants is a very wealth-producing planet, because it ruled the 11th house, deals with great gains, and of course the 2nd house deals with savings, but also deals with 2nd house also deals with speech, yeah, education, values of all kinds. This is what very often why Leo rising people, or people who've got a lot of planets in Leo, often have a very effective speech. Now, I'm not saying that Duck Larange is the most gifted orator that there's ever been, but he's very powerful with his language. It's not sophisticated, but it is powerful. It's influential. Yeah, particularly when we see here as well, he's got Neptune with Jupiter. This can also mean Jupiter. The Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru, and Neptune is associated with spirituality and all that stuff. Many people think he's what? The Messiah. They're calling him the Orange Messiah. But this can also deal with illusions and delusions, the big lie. Like I've said before, Duck Larange can brainwash in broad daylight. So you can see his Mercury here is rules the second house of speech via Virgo. Yeah. And here, look, you've got the wounded healer here. What's he always talking about? His wounds. I'm a victim, this, that, and the other. And that bonds his audience to him. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. But here, his Mercury, now remember, Mercury is the planet of communication, sits in its own sign of Gemini. That makes someone a chatterbox. But here, it is in the nakshatra called Ardra, which Ardra has the deity to it, which is called Rudra, which is the storm god, the god of storms. It is the destructive storm, the tornado that like blows through the Midwest and just chews up everything. On the positive side, this Ardra can be the most, I've found in clients' charts and stuff like that, Ardra is the most truthful nakshatra. It's very uncomfortable truths that can cause storms. However, the shadow of this is the con artist extraordinaire. The aptitude for lying and all of that stuff can absolutely zoom up. So it cuts both ways. It cuts both ways. Here you can see there's Mercury in Ardra at 15 degrees 45 minutes in Gemini. This is why Duck Larange cannot close his life or close his mouth to save his life. Look what he did with Eugene Carroll. Defamed her once, had to pay $5 million, and within 24 hours he defamed her again, and now he has to pay, what is it, 83.3 million or what have you. Wow. Yeah, that's someone whose mouth can't stop moving, because in a way the kind of mercurial element to him is kind of overactivated. Let's not forget too that Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So this can also show, and Rahu also deals with speaking as well. Remember, the shadow of Rahu is what? Lies. So here you've got Uranus, higher octave of Mercury, planet of communication, with Rahu, with the kingdom. So he will lie brazenly on the main stage of the whole world. Yeah. So you see, it makes sense. It doesn't mean absolutely every scintilla that comes out of his mouth it is a lie. But as I've said before, in his constant lying, he is always telling the truth, and he's always telling the truth about the shadow. Yeah, the shadow, the underbelly, the black mirror, as it were, that Trump holds up to the world and America. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget that too. Anyway, I think let's stop the share on that. I just wanted to share that again. I'm coming up for the hour already. Let's just pull some cards. Let's pull some cards for global elections. Yeah, I'm at 58. Let's just see, I'll do America obviously closer to the time, but let's do, what's the energy for global elections around the world? Things going to move more to the far right, or will people choose more democracies and stuff like that? So let's see what cards we get, just to get that 2024 flavor. All right, here we go. Let's have a quick look. See. Global elections 2024. What's the energy, spirit around that? I knew, I had a feeling the tower was going to come up, but I didn't want to preempt it. All right, here we are. People are not liking the choices that are in front of them. basically. They're not. They're like, oh my God. I think we see this as a theme all around the world, isn't it? At the moment, it seems like in some places, like choosing between plague and cholera, isn't it? So look, the voter is dissatisfied in general with the choices, but you know, they might do something left field. Here we see the and that was the Four of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. This is the card of harvest, etc. All of this kind of stuff. What in terms of what you've sown and what you get back, but it's turned in the obstacle position, so we can consider it reversed, which can sometimes refer to as the spoiled harvest. So a lot of people feel that their votes, that their choices are in many ways spoiled, or they don't like what they're seeing, the yield that politicians are producing. Why? Because it seems to be all about the money. Yeah, all about the money. You heard me talking about, you know, Trudeau and others. Of course, he's not the only one, and it was a free trip. And like many people were saying in the comments, but there is this perception that many politicians are just in it for what? The coin. However, if this perception continues, it's going to be a tower moment. So there's going to be many tower moments around the world, folks. Remember I said expect the unexpected, many surprises and stuff like that. However, the outcome is hard work and effort, education and stuff like that. So what I think it is that there'll be much tumult, but governments and people will be working harder thereafter, hopefully to correct things there. If you've not done so already, please like and subscribe and click the bell notification. That will really help my channel. More news to come as well on the trip. Yes, Santa Fe. Big announcement on Feb 1st. All right, watch this space. Thank you so much, everyone. And you'll be getting this video soon. All right, big love. Bye-bye for now. Cheers.